a male student was being led by his father to the new school for enrollment. The teacher also expressed his pride that his school had accepted a male student who had once won a gold medal at the International Science Olympiad and many other awards. After that, the teacher also told the male student Kim Woo-gyum that compared to his old school, here there were more diverse students and a very different atmosphere. The father immediately affirmed that his son would adapt well because Woo-gyum was good at everything. Then the teacher led this male student to the classroom to introduce him to his classmates. At this moment, the male student, Kang Yoon-ki, was just arriving at the classroom. When the teacher asked the new male student to introduce himself, the boy briefly and concisely introduced himself as Kim Woo-gyum, so his classmates applauded because of this unique introduction. When Woo-gyum went down to his seat, the boy Junki looked at him and discovered something interesting about the new student. The teacher also told the whole class that at his old school, Kim Woo-gyum was always ranked first. So everyone should help him integrate quickly into our school. A while later, when the teacher had left the room, Woo-gyum began to put on his headphones to listen to music, which made the blonde delinquent extremely irritated. But his companion told him not to touch the top student of the school. After class, Kim Woo-gyum would take the bus to the tutoring center and continue to bury himself in study. When he had just finished the extra class, his father texted him saying that today he would come home a little late, so his son should take pictures of the exercises he had solved at the center for him to see. And the boy obediently did so. After that, when he was home, Woo-gyum asked his mother if he could try the medicine she was taking. The mother immediately asked why he needed that medicine when all he did was study. Woo-gyum heard it but ignored the question and went into his room. That evening, Woo-gyum filled out the aspiration paper and did not know what future career to write. Then the boy quickly hid the paper because he saw his father entering. The father asked which page his son had reached in his review and said, "Today I drank a little too much. The people at the hospital are all evil. They always want to be treated, and the doctors always think they are the best." After seeing that his son had solved a math problem incorrectly, the father used a finger to correct Woo-gyum's concentration and told him to do it again from the beginning. Then he continued to point when he saw Woo-gyum still unable to solve the problem. When he noticed that his son had given the correct answer, he stroked Woo-gyum with satisfaction. The next day, Woo-gyum went to school and looked up at an airplane in the sky as if wishing for something. In the classroom, the blonde delinquent and his companion punished a classmate because he had not bought bread for them. After that, Woo-gyum also entered the classroom, only passed by, and began to take out his tools to study. Woo-gyum opened the aspiration paper and had written the future career as a doctor. Because the previous night, when his father had seen this paper, he had ordered his son to write doctor. So at this moment, Woo-gyum felt extremely angry because he was forced to become a doctor. Now the blonde delinquent jumped onto the back of the bullied boy to play horse riding. Then Choi Hong-il kicked down Yeon's music player. The boy gently picked up his machine to check it and stared straight at the blonde delinquent. When he saw him continuously pointing at the poor boy's face, Woo-gyum remembered the pointing that his father did to him. So he shouted loudly. The blonde delinquent immediately kicked Woo-gyum and then repeatedly stomped to release his anger, while all the male students in the school only stood watching and dared not intervene. After being stopped by his companion, Choi Hong-il said to Yeon, "I've got you now. Get back to your seat immediately." Zai. So the bookworm boy returned to his seat. After class, when the blonde delinquent was gathering with his two companions, he saw the bookworm boy coming. Then the blonde delinquent and his companions demanded that Woo-gyum hand over money to pay the price for daring to be insolent earlier. When the boy just took out his wallet, the blonde delinquent snatched all the money and asked if he was from a rich family. Then he demanded Woo-gyum's phone. The blonde delinquent saved his own number in Woo-gyum's phone with the name Big Brother Choi Hong-il. "If I text, you must reply within 10 seconds. When Woo-gyum said he could not check his phone while at the tutoring center, Choi Hong-il slapped the boy with money and said, "Reply 1 second late and you get 1 slap, understand?" When he was finally allowed to leave, Woo-gyum put his headphones back on. The blonde delinquent then invited the school boss, "Let's go sing karaoke." At night, Woo-gyum continued studying under the strict supervision of his father. and whenever he listened to music while lying down to sleep, the boy squeezed his own neck. Therefore, the next morning his neck was still sore. While being taught by his father to study hard, Uigyom received a message from big brother Choi Hong-il, ordering him to buy bread and put it on his desk. But Uigyom ignored this command. Therefore, in class, Uigyom was slapped on the head by the blonde delinquent and asked if he wanted to die for not bringing bread. When Uigyom apologized for forgetting, the blonde delinquent asked, "Does your mother cook delicious food for you? Why do you dare wear headphones when I'm talking to you?" He snatched the headphones and the player but heard nothing. When he and his companion left, Uigyom demanded them back. "This is important to me, give it back." The blonde delinquent kicked the bookworm boy and declared, "From today, this is mine." Uigyom called him back and begged, "Please return it to me." Choi Hong-il and his companion laughed and said, "If it's important, then come and get it." When Uigyom stepped forward, the blonde delinquent dropped the cassette player to the ground and stomped on it. Then he continuously poked Uigyom's head with his finger and spat insults, which made Uigyom's anger reach the peak, so he punched Choi Hong-il with strength. He rushed to retaliate and ordered his companion to lock the door. When he declared, "I'll bury you alive," Uigyom furiously rushed to fight. After that, he also landed a blow on the blonde delinquent. When he charged again, Uigyom tightly grabbed him. The bookworm boy pushed him toward the desks and threw the class boss to the ground. When Uigyom tried to restrain the blonde delinquent, he was kicked away. As the blonde delinquent stomped madly, Uigyom grabbed his leg and struck repeatedly. Then he punched the bully. The blonde delinquent retaliated furiously, but Uigyom grabbed his hair so painfully that he had to apologize. Uigyom continued to drive him into the desks, making him fall. Uigyom climbed on top and used a chokehold. When the companion tried to intervene, Junkie stopped him and said, "A duel cannot be interrupted." Meanwhile, Uigyom still struck mercilessly. When he recalled his haunting memories, the bookworm boy came to his senses and released him, making the blonde delinquent cough violently from his throat injury. He then shouted, "Get off me! Can you bear the consequences?" So Uigyom stood up and picked up his music player, but the blonde delinquent stubbornly held a chair to strike back, only to be hit with precise punches by the bookworm boy. Choi Hong-il tried to get up but had no strength left, which amused Junkie greatly. After that, Uigyom put his headphones back on and sat at his seat to study. When the class ended, Junkie ran after him to introduce himself and asked, "What martial art do you practice to fight so well?" When Uigyom plopped, "Guyam said he learned nothing," the glasses boy replied. "You really have a talent for fighting. But how will you fight tomorrow? Even if you don't want to, you must fight. Since you hit Choi Hong-il, his friends won't leave you alone." Uigyom said he did not want to fight, but Junkie still loudly declared, "Tomorrow the battle will begin. Take care of your life." A while later, when sitting on the bus, Uigyom recalled the fiery fight earlier and his accurate strikes, which made him laugh with joy. Then he realized he had missed his stop. Uigyom quickly ran to the tutoring class but was late, so the boy apologized to the teacher and began the exam with sweat dripping. After that, Kim Uigyom also went home. When the mother told her son to go take a bath, the father pressed down and asked, "Why did you come back late from the tutoring? If your score in this exam is not good, you will be demoted to the intermediate class. Do you know that?" The mother, hearing this, immediately turned the TV volume up to the maximum to drown out her husband's preaching. After that, the father also suggested, "Take a bath and then continue studying. I will come in right after I finish this." So the son obediently followed. A while later, after bathing, Uigyom saw his older brother wearing a music player. The brother gently put the headphones on Uigyom and said, "This is real music. Don't just listen with your ears, but feel it with your heart. Then you will feel the true vibrations." When the father entered the room, the memory of the brother also ended. After that, the father continued to supervise his son's studies. The next day, Uigyom put on his headphones and walked at school, when the blonde delinquent Choi Hong-il smacked his head. When the boy apologized for yesterday, he continued to be physically hit by the blonde and was threatened, "Later, I will beat you up." The boy junkie also warned him, "Surely that Kim Seong-jun, the beanie guy, will come for you. He practices boxing and is the boss here. If the fight starts and you are in his sight, you're doomed, so just rush in and wrestle with him." But Uigyum pushed his hand away and said, "I don't like fighting." Then he coldly walked away. But when he had just entered the restroom, he was confronted by the beanie guy. The lackeys ordered everyone to leave. The boy junkie decided to stay as an audience and said to the blonde, "Yesterday you were punched once on the chin and fell immediately, so you must have hurt a lot." The beanie guy also called the blonde an idiot for being unable to handle a weak bookworm. When Uigyum asked, "Why are you picking a fight with me?" Kim Seong-jun replied, "Because you were insolent with Choi Hong-il." As the boy opened his mouth to answer, he was given a punch by the beanie. The boss also ordered Uigyum to kneel. But the young boy still stared at the school boss and prepared his fists. But at that moment, the homeroom teacher appeared. Seeing Uigyum bleeding, the teacher said, "He is studying hard, so why are you bullying him?" The teacher also asked Junkie to take Uigyum to the school infirmary. Then he continued to scold the school boss Kim Seong-jun. "You think because you practice martial arts you can hit anyone? Why beat someone who just transferred? Truly stupid. You still haven't contacted your mother, right?" After that, the teacher repeatedly poked the delinquent with a stick, making him furious but not daring to resist. The boy junkie followed Uigyum and continued to remind, "Never stand within Kim Seong-jun's punching range. You must rush and wrestle with him. You were about to be beaten to pieces just now. If I train you, you will fight well." But Uigyum repeated, "I don't fight." Then he saw the blonde's lips, trembling with anger. But Uigyum still declared that he did not want more trouble. A while later, when the boy returned to his desk, he found his music player had disappeared. At the same time, the blonde Choi Hong-il called and said, "Lost your cassette player?" When Uigyum asked where he was, he demanded, "Come to the place where I robbed you yesterday, bookworm." So Uigyum hurried away. And Junkie could not miss the fun about to happen. Then he stopped Uigyum and said, "If you run, you will be exhausted and beaten to pulp." Then Junkie asked Uigyum, "Is that cassette player really important?" Uigyum said, "It belonged to my brother. Since I borrowed it, I must take care of it." At this moment, the boss with the beanie was holding the cassette player with an angry face. And the blonde lackey was also upset for having lost to the school bookworm. When he saw the two boys arrive, the blonde shouted at Junkie, "After dealing with that bookworm, I will fix your personality too." So the glasses boy happily accepted. The boss held out the cassette and suggested, "Come and take it, before I smash it." So Uigyum stepped up the stairs and faced Kim Seong-jun on the landing. The beanie guy proposed, "Fight me once, then I'll return your thing." When Uigyum declared, "I don't want to fight," the boss struck first and continued with another punch. When Uigyum had not regained balance, he was struck again. The two lackeys enjoyed watching him get hit. Suddenly, the bookworm boy pushed the school boss once and said, "From the beginning, you caused the trouble. You took my player first." Uigyum frantically attacked and asked repeatedly, "What did I do wrong?" Kim Seong-jun punched and said, "Because you like to show off." Then Uigyum prepared to fight, but still took more accurate punches from the boss, making him bleed from his nose. But he continued to stand guard. When he kept taking punches from Seong-jun, Uigyum decided to deceive him and struck back with a powerful blow, which thrilled Junkie. Seong-jun counterattacked with multiple accurate strikes and declared, "You are just an unlucky bookworm. I will turn this school into hell for you. If you can't take it, just drop out to be at peace." Uigyum recalled Junkie's advice, "Rush in and wrestle with him." So the boy decided to charge, but kept receiving punches. Finally, Uigyum grabbed the school boss tightly and said, "Who are you to turn school into hell?" Then he pushed Seong-jun down the stairs, making both roll many times. Now the boss had one leg disabled, so Uigyum attacked with his strong foot, then aimed at the injured leg but was struck by the opponent's hands. But he could not withstand the fury of the bookworm boy, so he was given a powerful punch by Uigyum. The boy stomped and said, "Do you know how much I suffered because of you? Do you know how pressured school is?" and the two lackeys only stood frozen before Yu-Gi-Oh's frenzy. Then the bookworm boy stepped up. Seong-jun tried to crawl to retaliate, but was stopped by Junki, who declared, "You lost, so just shut up and endure." At most, a few months in a cast. The blonde trembled as he looked at Yu-Gi-Oh's fierce face and obediently returned the cassette. Yu-Gi-Oh put on his headphones coldly and walked away. When Yu-Gi-Oh washed the blood in the restroom, the boy Junki muttered, "You almost died rolling down the stairs with Seong-jun. They thought you were a bookworm, but who knew you could be so crazy?" Fighting skill is natural talent. I was the only one who saw your talent from the first glance. When Yu-Gi-Oh asked, "Are you only good at talking?" Junki replied, "As a trainer, fighting skill is not important, eyes are. I hate those who bully with numbers." At that moment, Yu-Gi-Oh received a call from his father asking, "The center called saying you didn't attend class. Call me back immediately." After reading the message, Yu-Gi-Oh asked Junki, "Switch shirts with me." When he was clean again, Yu-Gi-Oh said, "If my pair, NTS no, I'm finished." Junki also promised, "I'll wash the bloodstains and return it." Then Yu-Gi-Oh put on his headphones and said he must hurry to the tutoring center. And Junki threw him a cream for bruises. The blonde and his gang were planning revenge against Yu-Gi-Oh, because if people knew Seong-jun had been defeated by a bookworm, the upperclassmen would not let it go. And Seong-jun was also full of rage. Yu-Gi-Oh went into the restroom to treat the bruises. When he stepped out, he saw his father showing fury at the tutoring center staff, saying, "My son has studied here for years, why can't he solve these problems? What kind of teaching is this?" Yu-Gi-Oh stared at his father and again thought of the scene of himself attacking Seong-jun and venting his anger on him. The next morning, when awakened by his mother from a dream, Kim Yu-Gi-Oh regained his spirit and welcomed the sunlight to take in energy. While eating breakfast, the son kept asking his mother to serve more rice and food. The father also suggested switching to another tutoring center because if he was demoted to the intermediate class, it would be meaningless. But Yu-Gi-Oh said, "I will try harder. I can do it, Dad." The father expressed trust but then continued lecturing, "In any case, you must not interrupt me while I speak." At school, the boss Ju Hyuk struck Kim Seong-jun with a stick and said, "You are the leader of first years, how could you lose to a nobody? Do you know why you lost in that duel? Because you didn't have as much guts as him, so you got beaten in humiliation." After that, the boss kicked the blonde and his companion once and ordered, "All three of you must punish that guy right away. If you can't, then take my punishment, understand?" Now after school, Junki kept following Yu-Gi-Oh, chattering like a machine. At this time, Kim Seong-jun and his gang were plotting a plan to carry out Jo Hyuk's order. Otherwise, they would have to transfer away. When they saw Yu-Gi-Oh appear with Junki, Seong-jun also hatched a plan. At that moment, Junki warned Yu-Gi-Oh, "Soon you will have to fight the second years." And the bookworm boy once again said, "I will not fight." Now Kim Seong-jun was riding his motorcycle behind them. He sped up the bike and struck Yu-Gi-Oh on the back of the head with a stick. Seeing blood flowing, Junki wanted to call the police, but Yu-Gi-Oh said, "If my parents know, they will be very worried. I told you not to, so don't." Then the boy fainted. When he fell into a dream, he recalled the moment when his brother's body was taken into the ambulance and the helpless eyes of his parents and himself. After that, Yu-Gi-Oh woke up in the emergency room and got his music player back from Junki, then decided to go to the tutoring center because he was late. But at that moment, his parents rushed in. When hugged by his mother, Yu-Gi-Oh apologized to his father. Outside the hospital, the blonde blamed Seong-jun for hitting too hard, so Seong-jun did not know if Yu-Gi-Oh was still breathing. Now Yu-Gi-Oh returned to the hospital bed. When his father asked what happened, Junki interrupted and said, "He slipped on the stairs because we took a shortcut to the bus stop. That place has a narrow staircase. When I was little, I also fell there and broke my arm." The father examined Junki and asked, "What rank are you in school?" Junki admitted, "I don't study well." Then he asked to leave first. Yu-Gi-Oh also asked to go to tutoring, but his mother stopped him to let him rest. When Yu-Gi-Oh stammered an apology, the father said, "You must not be injured, and also must not be sick." The mother, hearing that, felt very upset and stepped outside. When she saw an emergency patient being pushed in, Woo-gyum's mother recalled the haunting scene of her eldest son Soo-jin being taken away, making her breathe heavily in exhaustion. At this moment, Kim Se-young-jun appeared and offered to help her inside. But Woo-gyum's mother said she would be fine. "Are you a friend of Woo-gyum? I see you in his uniform, so you came to visit him?" Se-young-jun asked about Woo-gyum's condition, and the mother said, "Fortunately, he is not too seriously injured. You must be worried, right? He just transferred not long ago, yet already has friends who care for him." Hearing this, Se-young-jun asked to leave. Woo-gyum's mother told him not to touch the wound on his face. "You must apply ointment, otherwise it will scar. Seeing you injured like this, your mother must be worried." Se-young-jun apologized and quickly left the emergency room. After that, Woo-gyum was taken home by his father. Meanwhile, Jung-ki visited a friend still unconscious and said, "Wake up. Doesn't your back hurt? I met someone exactly like you." When entering the house, the mother asked to talk with her son about school life and requested that Woo-gyum rest at home tomorrow. But the boy said, "If I skip school, I will drop in rank." The mother asked, "Are you blaming me?" When she tried to bring up the past, Woo-gyum interrupted and said, "Now I must study." Right after, he lay in bed listening to music, and again touched his own neck, as always. The next day, Woo-gyum gazed at a plane taking off. While walking into school, Jung-ki kept nagging and bringing up yesterday. Then Woo-gyum went to say to Se-young-jun, "I won't count your dirty trick. If you have self-respect, please end it here." Se-young-jun called him to stop and said, "Don't act up, live quietly." When Se-young-jun left, his two companions were very worried about being beaten by the second-year boss. Immediately, Joo-hyuk began to strike Se-young-jun and asked, "I told you to bring that Woo-gyum here. Are you afraid of him or afraid of me?" Se-young-jun stammered that yesterday he had already beaten him, so now he wouldn't dare anymore. But the boss still ordered Se-young-jun to lead the way. Right after, the boss stormed into the classroom to find Woo-gyum. Seeing him not answer, he knocked off Woo-gyum's headphones. Jung-ki appeared and said, "If you fight here, I must report to the homeroom teacher." The boss punched the blonde once and said, "You let these guys beat you up? How shameful. When the lunch bell rings, you two go to the rooftop. If you are late even 1 minute, everyone here will live in hell until I graduate, understand?" Then the two went to the rooftop and faced the boss, Joo-hyuk. Although he continuously struck Woo-gyum on the head with a stick, Woo-gyum obediently apologized and asked him to spare Jung-ki, so the boss told the glasses boy to step aside. The boss declared he could not forgive Woo-gyum for hitting Se-young-jun, so he must be punished. He called Se-young-jun, then ordered the two to face each other. Jung-ki said to the blonde, "From now on, don't bother Woo-gyum anymore. He doesn't want to fight, that's why he endures." But the blonde still did not believe this. Woo-gyum followed the boss's command and said, "Sorry, Se-young-jun. From now on, I will do whatever you say." The boss ordered Se-young-jun, "Hit Woo-gyum hard. Make him so scared he wets himself when he hears your voice." But Se-young-jun turned away, so the boss beat him repeatedly with the stick. Seeing this made the bookworm boy furious, so Woo-gyum grabbed the stick and shouted at Jung-ki, "If I finish him, how many more will come?" When Jung-ki said, "2 more," Woo-gyum asked, "So if I finish 2 more, then no more fighting?" Then he punched the school boss. When his underlings wanted to step in, Joo-hyuk stopped them in shame. He tried to attack again to regain dignity, but was struck down by Woo-gyum and kept receiving blows from the lower-class bookworm. When Woo-gyum kicked him, he played dirty by grabbing the stick to attack. Then he used the weapon to deliver many blows and even attempted a flying strike. Woo-gyum resisted, but kept receiving hits. Then the boss pressed the stick hard against his neck, so Woo-gyum recalled when he always clutched his own neck while listening to music. As he was about to faint, suddenly Se-young-jun attacked the boss and said to the bookworm boy, "Let's call it even." The underlings moved to punish Se-young-jun for betraying the boss. Joo-hyuk, humiliated, continued venting his anger on Woo-gyum, but the bookworm boy resisted with tenacity. After that, Kim Yu-yoon kept taking blows with his arms and was thrown down by the boss. But the boy still stood up, then seized the boss's stick and struck him with a bare-fisted punch. Uigim said, "I'll show you what a combo strike is." Then he began hitting the upperclassmen continuously. When he put all his strength into a punch, the boss was sent flying far away. The bookworm boy went to pick up his enemy's weapon. But instead of playing dirty like his opponent, Uigim declared, "I never had a senior like you." Then he broke the stick. When the underlings tried to rush in, Junkie stopped them and said, "This is a fair duel. If you disgracefully gang up, I will tell the teachers or call the police." At this moment, the boss could no longer get up, while Uigim looked up at the sky like a victor and gazed at a plane flying across. At this time, Uigim's father was presiding over a meeting at his medical equipment company and shouted fiercely because the employees had failed to connect with major hospitals. When the meeting ended, Professor Kim received a call from his father asking if he would bring Uigim over during the weekend. Professor Kim replied that on the weekend, Uigim still had to attend tutoring. But the grandfather insisted that the whole family must come to have a meal and asked whether Uigim had adapted to his new school. Professor Kim said that Uigim was excellent and had adapted well. At this time, the boy himself was washing up after the fiery battle. When Uigim asked who the other two were, Junkie replied, "Nam Song-sik and Heo Song-guk. Both are third years. Are you really planning to go find them? You just fought, and you're crazy." At this time, as Seung-jun was walking with his companions, he said, "I won't play such games anymore." Seung-jun looked at Gyu-kyom and said, "No matter how much I get beaten by seniors, I won't join you anymore." At this time, the boss Ju-hyuk walked away in hatred, his face bruised. Then he entered the rock music club room, politely greeted the seniors, and said to Heo Chunaguk, "I have something to say to Nam Sung-sik." He went to see the senior playing drums and politely said, "I have something important to tell you." The mohawk-haired senior smiled, ready to listen. Right after, when Uigim was trying to walk up the stairs, Nam Sung-sik ran to him and asked, "Are you hurt? Let me take you to the infirmary, or let me support you back to class." At that moment, when the teacher appeared, the third-year student politely nodded. After leading him to class, Nam Sung-sik asked, "Lend me some money. After doing good, I feel thirsty. Look, I'm so poor I can't even afford shoes." Uigim gave him 10,000 won, so he happily promised to meet again and ran away quickly. That evening, Uigim took the midterm exam at the tutoring center, but he kept recalling the fight with boss Ju-hyuk, so he was distracted. When the result came, the teacher said, "You only got 94. You moved from advanced class, so why can't you be top in intermediate? Your father is so devoted, yet you lack will." After leaving, Uigim was awaited by Nam Sun-chik and his gang. The mohawk-haired boy waved as if close and invited the bookworm boy to talk. Uigim asked, "Are you one of those two? Do you want to do it here?" Nam Sung-sik and his underling laughed and said, "If you fight me, you won't go home by yourself. But I just want to talk, not fight. Just..." Then, his father called him to get in the car, so the conversation ended. While in the car, the father told his son to remove his headphones and warned that those boys did not look good. Strength has two types, temporary and enduring. Those intoxicated with temporary power and arrogance will never have enduring strength. You must have enduring strength. Then the father took Uigim to tailor a suit. When the professor apologized for bothering the tailor late, the tailor said, "My family owes you so much. Even if I were sleeping, I would get up to help. Uigim has grown so much. I heard your eldest son entered the medical school at Seoul University. Is he well?" The professor fell silent and then said, "My son is doing well." The next day, Junkie gazed at a plane with his friend Uigim. Then, knowing that Nam Sung-sik had gone to the tutoring center to find Uigim, Junkie said, "You just fought yesterday. You must let your body recover. Only fight at your best, that is a warrior." Just then, Nam Sung-sik and Heo Sung-guk were waiting outside the classroom. Heo Sung-guk said, "Go in obediently. If you run, your whole class will suffer." Then, the mohawk-haired boy drank a soda in front of Uigim. When Heo Seung-gu touched his music player, Ui Gyeom was about to rise but was pressed down by Nam Seung-sik, who said, "Play with me because I like you. If you play, there's no need to fight. See those outside? None dare come in. You don't want to live miserably like that, right? Everyone will follow you if you join me. With strength you rule, it's the same everywhere." Ui Gyeom said, "In the end, you are just a thug." Nam Seung-sik laughed and asked, "Thirsty?" Then poured soda over the bookworm boy's head. After dragging his men out, the leader threw the soda bottle at Uiga's head and said, "Throw out the trash for me." Junkie calmly approached and said to Ui Gyeom, "You endured well." The next day, Ui Gyeom's whole family went to his grandfather's birthday party. When the daughter-in-law offered a gift, the father-in-law was indifferent, only caring about his grandson. At the meal, the two aunts, both doctors, talked about work, but the grandfather asked about Ui Gyeom's new school and said, "Why transfer at such an important time? And to a school full of delinquents?" But Ui Gyeom said, "I like my current school." Then the grandfather poured a drink and said, "With one call, I can cut off all supplies to your father's company. Do you know what that is called?" Ui Gyeom jokingly said, "Abuse of power." When the grandfather offered the glass, Ui Gyeom refused because he was underage, but the grandfather insisted, "Learn to be an adult. If an adult offers, you must drink." So Ui Gyeom drank it. The grandfather also drank and said, "I am truly an abuser, but your father doesn't understand and thought it harsh, so he left to find his own way. Now what? Without me, he could do nothing. At moments of wanting to flee, you must endure. Your father and brother could not endure. Only by enduring can you be the abuser. Now I count only on you. Return to Seun's school, one call to the principal, and you'll be in. No matter how fierce the competition, survive there, then rise higher. Didn't you like that school because your brother was once there?" But Ui Gyeom said, "If I return, I will die." Hearing this, the grandfather said, "Your father has ruined you too." After that, when Ui Gyeom went outside, sunlight hit his face. Suddenly, he saw the image of his brother Soo-jun and then ran to dive into the pool. While the father rushed, the mother was terrified. Then the father jumped into the pool to save his son, while the mother was shocked. When the daughter-in-law blamed the grandfather for giving alcohol to Yu-jio, the grandfather said the parents were too weak to manage their son. That's why Soo-jun died. The daughter-in-law declared, "I will protect Ui Gyeom." Then the father was taken into the room by his daughter. The next day, Junkie followed Kim Ui Gyeom and tried to persuade him. It's still not the right time because that guy is not an easy opponent. But Ui Gyeom asked about Nam Seung-sik's class. When Junkie blocked him, Ui Gyeom said, "If I bow my head to them, I'll feel ashamed." After that, when Ui Gyeom rushed into the classroom, Nam Seung-sik ordered everyone out. Ui Gyeom went up and said, "I regret not drinking the coke you gave me," then grabbed the coke and said, "Thanks for provoking me." When Nam Seung-sik smiled, he was doused with coke on the head. He opened his mouth to enjoy it. When the mohawk-haired boy suggested going outside to settle it, Ui Gyeom threw the coke bottle at his head. As Nam Seung-sik was about to advance, the teacher appeared and said, "If you drive students out of class, I won't let it go." Nam Seung-sik obediently nodded, ran to massage his shoulders in flattery, so the teacher called the students back in. The upperclassman then told Ui Gyeom, "At lunch, come to the rock club room. If you run, I'll kill you." Immediately, Ui Gyeom went to the club room. Nam Seung-sik asked, "Do you want to play with me or die here? I'll give you time until I finish this." A while later, after he solved the Rubik's Cube, Ui Gyeom said, "Let's end it quickly, I have to study." Nam Seung-sik laughed loudly, then rushed in. He exploited his agility as a small guy and hit Ui Gyeom repeatedly. After being pressed down, the bookworm boy was told, "Being underneath doesn't mean disadvantage." He countered and locked Ui Gyeom's neck tightly from behind. Junki shouted for Ui Gyeom to wake up. The boy recalled his traumatic memory but fainted. So Nam Seung-sik released and said, "From now on, I'll take charge of your school life. Next is the glasses boy. I'm also interested in you. Drop Ui Gyeom and join me." Junkie replied, "I may be a coward, but I hate losing face." He prepared to fight. But before the battle began, Ui Gyeom woke and said, If you strangle me again, you're dead. Nam Song-sek told Junkie to wait until he finished this guy. He rushed in with more punches, then again used the chokehold and said, "What can you do when I choke you?" While his underlings boasted, Wee Gyeom used his legs to throw Nam Song-sik down and rained punches on the mohawk like a punching bag. Heo Sung-guk advanced but was suddenly kicked hard by Junkie, surprising everyone. Junkie said to Wee Gyeom, "You still have two to handle, right? I'll take one for you now." Nam Sung-ki sat up and suggested Wee Gyeom watch the show first. Then Heo Sung-guk advanced but was kicked repeatedly by Junkie, so he countered with a kick that put Junkie down. But the boy quickly recovered, shaking him, then delivered a decisive kick, leaving Nam Sung-ki surprised, laughing like a fool. Junkie said, "You've got a bloody nose, quit already." But he still swore to break a limb of the bookworm. When Wee Gyeom charged, he was thrown down, but he escaped and struck back with punches. Nam Sung-sik kicked him down and mounted him, declaring he would break his arm. Wee Gyeom struggled and lifted him up, then kicked his face. Then he looked at Junkie and said, "Let's serve the audience," and landed a splendid kick. Then he used a chokehold and said, "I told you, choke me again, and you die." The ferocious school boss fainted. Wee Gyeom warned the underlings, "Stop being thugs at school." Outside, he looked up at the sky at a passing plane. Junkie loudly declared, "We've conquered the Song Gang. Now no more arrogant bullies. It's all over as you wanted. Now focus on studying." At this, Wee Gyeom's face was full of thought. Wee Gyeom's mother went to a psychologist for help because she still lacked the courage to open the room her eldest son once stayed in. But this time, she gathered all her courage, opened it, pulled the curtain aside to let light in, and looked at the belongings of her eldest, Sujun. While jogging in the morning, Wee Gyeom recalled his fight with Nam Seong-sik and began training his fighting skills. At tutoring class, he kept losing focus, so the teacher came down and pointed his finger at his face, telling him to focus. Wee Gyeom grabbed the teacher's hand, then apologized. The teacher shouted, "How dare you be insolent? Studying benefits you, not me. Think of your father. If you continue like this, stop studying, get out." Wee Gyeom smiled, agreed, and left. Immediately, his father asked why he left class. The boy said, "The teacher told me to. Recently my scores improved, so I think I can self-study." The father raised his hand but stopped, asking, "Now you're insolent with me? Every time you face problems, you choose to run? I'll call the center. You must go and apologize in person. Never let this happen again, understand?" When the boy promised, the father told him to continue studying. As he stepped out, the father noticed his wife had heard everything. Wee Gyeom put on headphones again, lay on bed, and placed his hands on his neck as usual. The next day, when they met, Junkie said, "Our story hasn't ended, it's just beginning. There are too many bad people. You transferred from Seon, right? This is Kim Nam-hoon, a second year at Seon. He bullies the weak, even pours chemicals on victims. He's cruel and inhuman. He vents study stress by random bullying. But his father covers it all. I heard he's a professor at the medical school, very powerful. Let's go punish him. You also like to judge evil, right? Let's educate him." At that moment, when Wee Gyeom got a call from his father, Junkie grabbed the phone and said, "Besides what your father orders, you must also do what you want." But Wee Gyeom asked, "Are you crazy? Want to die?" So Junkie returned the phone. Suddenly, a convenience store clerk called Wee Gyeom handed him a drink and said, "I study at the same school. After you beat Choi Hong-gil, they stopped bullying me." "Thank you." Junkie said, "This top student has no kindness. He only fights to vent stress because he doesn't dare fight back at his father. I must have misjudged him." Wee Gyeom only walked away. That evening, his father drove Wee Gyeom to a party to meet professors from universities, saying, "Your grandfather sent an invitation. Many children here are preparing for medical school or already studying medicine, so make friends." After entering, Professor Kim led his son to greet the hostess director and her daughter. A professor then suggested to Wee Gyeom, "Study hard to enter our medical school," then introduced his son. Wee Gyeom recognized him as Kim Nam-hoon, the bully Junkie had warned about at Seon's school. When his father said, "Your uncle saw on TV that you won the AI competition with an app for disabled students," this boy replied that because he had once injured his leg, he made that app. But Uigom had experimented on the body of a bullied student. At this moment, Kim Nam-hoon extended his hand to greet, but Uigom asked, "How is Mr. Bom?" The school violence case you were involved in. With the video, how can the creator of a disability app cripple someone else? The father then led his son outside. When the father asked why he brought up school violence, Uigyeom said, "That guy is a thug who beats and extorts students." The father loudly asserted that talented people are always followed by false rumors. Uigyeom said, "I saw the video myself." The father continued lecturing, "There are only two kinds of people in this world: extortionists and the extorted. The world is harsh. Even if Nam-hoon faces such infamy, he handles it maturely. I brought you here to learn that attitude. Go back inside and apologize to him." Uigyeom asked why he must. "I don't want to be bad like that." "Do you want me to be like my brother? Do you want me to leave like him?" The father recalled his eldest and slapped his younger son, so Uigyeom turned and left. Then the father stood frozen in thought. Uigyeom was pensive at the bus stop. Rain began to fall. A while later, Uigyeom stood drenched in front of Junki's house. When his friend came out, Uigyeom said, "Let's go get Kim Nam-hoon." Meanwhile, the mother told the psychologist, "I entered my eldest son's room. The truth is, he committed suicide in that room, just 1 month after entering medical school. Now thinking back, before he died, he had sent me signals for help many times, but I never noticed. If only I had noticed." The next day, Kim Nam-hoon and his gang searched for a bullied boy in the restroom. He found him hiding and said, "Open up before I kill you." The boy, Jung-kwon, opened and was kicked. He was told he'd get more after school. Then, they left. That night, Jung-kwon stood on the rooftop, unable to jump. At his despair, 2 mysterious boys appeared. Later, Jung-kwon was again a punching bag for Nam-hoon and his gang. When Nam-hoon kicked, the boy dodged, so he was grabbed. At this moment, 2 hooded boys arrived and shouted, "Is Kim Nam-hoon of Seon School here?" When asked who they were, Junki said, "We are school superheroes." Then the 2 heroes stepped up. Junki smoothly dealt with the gang members. Uigyeom faced Nam-hoon and took repeated punches. When he dodged a kick, he remembered Seong-jun's moves and struck accurately, but Nam-hoon caught him and kneed him repeatedly. Seeing this, Junki rushed in and kicked Nam-hoon. A henchman struck from behind, but Junki endured, so Uigyeom kneed the attacker repeatedly. Nam-hoon tried to knee Junki but failed and was punched. After the ambusher fell, Uigyeom replaced his friend and fought Nam-hoon again, using the same knee strike he had suffered, finishing with a spinning volley kick. Junki told Uigyeom to take out his phone, film it, and call the bullied boy to make Nam-hoon apologize. Uigyeom recorded it. When Nam-hoon gave a half-hearted apology, Junki demanded sincerity. He said, "Sorry, forgive me." Junki asked Jung-kwon if he accepted. Guys like him fake apologies. The way to grow is to beat those who beat you. That's how you erase fear. Now they can't bully you anymore. We'll post this video online. Fight them back the same way. The boy kicked his bully, and Junki told him not to fear them again. Then, the 2 school superheroes drank beer to celebrate their first success. Junki asked Uigyeom to send the video and said, "I'll give it to Young. Whenever he's tired, he'll get strength from it." Then they talked excitedly, proud to punish a bully. Afterward, they went to the lockers, changed back into school uniforms, and Uigyeom went home, skipping tutoring. Later, Junki replayed the video of Nam-hoon's humiliation and told his still unconscious friend, "Remember Kim Nam-hoon? Yesterday I made him kneel. I'll make the rest kneel too." As he left, his friend's finger moved. The next day, the class took an exam. Afterward, Junki told Uigyeom, "I've picked the next target. Now we must return." At this moment, the blonde and his companion urged Seong-jun to apologize to the seniors. But Seong-jun said, I must resume boxing. If I get punished for hanging with you, I'll kill you. Now Uy Guillaume loudly warned the blonde not to trouble Seongjun Ag. Singhain, tell your seniors not to touch him. This is a warning. The blonde turned away. When Uy Guillaume tried to talk, Seongjun said, these bosses were once normal boys. Once they knew their fists were strong, they became tyrants. Now you're the same. I fear you'll become like them. Uy Guillaume reflected on this. At that moment, the teacher welcomed a new transfer and said, will you promise to behave here? This is your last chance, the student promised. Then, the mysterious new boy entered class. As he sat, others whispered, that's Nam Seong-sik's seat. At that moment, Nam Seong-sik entered and told him to move. That's mine. The bucket hat boy apologized, thinking it was free, but Nam Seong-sik demanded money. The boy handed a few bills, then pulled them back, saying, I want to live peacefully, help me. Nam Seong-sik demanded 100,000 won weekly. If no money, take a beating. He tried to take it, but the boy dodged, so the mohawk swung fists. When he grabbed the tie, the boy tore it off. The young boss pressed, but was thrown down. As Nam Seong-sik advanced, the teacher called the new boy's name and said, new here and already fighting? Both of you, to the office. Later, angry with his gang, Nam Seong-sik ordered the blonde Choi Hong-il to do something. Right after, the blonde Choi Hong-il tattled to Jung-ki. So the bespectacled friend told Do Ejong. A new third-year transfer had already fought with Nam Seong-sik. The blonde stoked the fire. That guy wants to take this school, so he went for Seong-sik. Next will be you. Uy Guillaume told Jung-ki to meet him right away. Thus, the blonde achieved his scheme. At that time, the new boy was studying hard. Then Jung-ki and Uy Guillaume came, saying, if you want to own this school, it's not Seong-sik, it's Kim Uy Guillaume you must face. The transfer suggested a quiet place to talk. Soon, the two sides faced each other on the rooftop. Seeing the name tag GU, Jung-ki recognized him. He said he didn't want to fight. But Uy Guillaume asked, then why did you fight Seong-sik as soon as you arrived? He rushed forward with punches, but the upperclassmen neutralized them all. Jung-ki quickly stopped him, saying, you're no match for him. The senior said, if I fought for real, you'd be dead. As he left, Jung-ki said, I've heard of you since middle school. We had no intent to fight. We thought you were just another thug. The senior replied, what you two do, how is it different from thuggery? Uy Guillaume answered, we only punish the wicked. Jiu Jae-hook asked, and who decides who's wicked? Am I wicked or good? Those who fight rarely meet good ends. You'll only know when you've lived it. Then he left. Jung-ki told Uy Guillaume that even 10 of him couldn't beat that guy. The blonde reported back. The transfer didn't want to fight, so no battle happened. Nam Seong-sik grew even more furious. Then Jung-ki explained that Jiu Jae-hyuk had come from Hmong school. Juvenile criminals, there were too many, so instead of reform centers, they were concentrated in special schools, neither prison nor true school. Teachers encouraged fighting and ranked students by combat skill. To survive, one had to fight. Jiu Jae-hyuk had been the top, undefeated, so he was transferred out. Spotting Jiu walk by, Jun-ki said, if a senior like him joined us, we'd fear nothing. But they saw Nam Seong-sik tailing him with his gang. Immediately, Jiu Jae-hyuk noticed and fled, with Jung-ki running after to watch. In a dead-end alley, Jiu asked, must we fight? I want to live quietly, stop here. But Seong-sik charged like a beast, only to be downed in moments. Jiu drew a line, warning, cross and you die. Heo Seong-guk still advanced and met the same fate. The Mohawked two rushed I. N, taking a punch willingly. Jiu warned, stand aside if you want to live, and they obeyed. Then Jung-ki approached, apologizing for the rooftop incident. You're not allowed to cause trouble now, right? If word spreads, it's bad. I filmed everything. If I ever need help, will you aid me? Jiu asked, are you blackmailing me? Jung-ki insisted it was negotiation. Then you owe me one, and left. Later, at cram school, Uy Guillaume recalled the senior's words. Are you wicked? At home, his father slapped him. Poor midterm scores. always late to cram school, even skipping. As he raised his hand again, the mother shouted, "Can't you talk without hitting? Your way is ruining him." Meanwhile, under a bridge, Ki-dong and his gang extorted 2 chubby students for dating money, while 2 schoolgirls gleefully filmed. Suddenly, the 2 masked school heroes appeared. "Stop bullying the weak. If you want fun, fight us." They leapt down, attacked, and told the victims to run. Seeing their might, one chubby boy filmed. Uigyom floored several punks. Ki-dong grabbed him, but Junkie kicked to save him. The girls fled. The duo coordinated, defeating the gang. Ki-dong swung a metal rod, but Uigyom pushed Junkie aside, then punched and kicked him hard, finishing with a flying kick, cheered by his friend. When Ki-dong rose again, Uigyom stomped him and punished him fiercely until he begged for mercy. But Uigyom, recalling his pain, grew wild, making Junkie restrain him. Still mad, he shouted, "Scum like him must die," and raised the rod, only to smash bricks behind instead. Junkie pleaded, "Stop. We must be different." Later, they talked. Uigyom asked, "Have you ever smoked?" "Just now. I wanted a cigarette." Junkie warned, "You were too harsh. Almost a crime." "We're not like them," Uigyom asked. "But isn't this what you wanted me to do?" Suddenly, Junkie got a call from his friend's mother and rushed off. At cram school, Uigyom overheard students gossiping. The thugs of Gong-un School got wrecked by 2 masked guys. Last week, Nam-hun of Mun School too. If they came here, great. Meanwhile, Junkie visited his hospitalized friend, who had awakened, recognizing him, to his joy. The mother said, "Junkie visits 2 or 3 times every month." He wept with relief. Leaving, he thought angrily. 2 down, 2 to go, he'd punish the rest. At home, Uigyom's father told his wife cleaners would come tomorrow for that room. "He can't study, thinking of it." She cried, "Seongjun's room? Why still not say his name?" The father said, "We've suffered enough. Focus on Uigyom." She said, "Every day he's bruised. You care only for grades." Seongjun was so stressed he beat his own brother. Now it's Uigyom's turn to be under stress, so he fought. Just then he arrived home. His father demanded the cassette player. Though his mother asked him to go back to his room, the father shouted again for the cassette player. Uigyom replied, "This was something Sehongjun treasured. Didn't you say I must be like him? Do you know why he loved it? Because he said, with headphones on, he could go somewhere without you." The father snapped that the worthless brat was weak, so he ended like that. But the son smiled and said, "You killed him. Do you want me to be like him? Wake up, father. Mother too. Both of you killed him." The next day, Junkie brought Uigyom to punish a delinquent from dam school and warned him not to go overboard like last time, that lately he looked dangerous. Uigyom answered, "Because we are different," and charged ahead. The 2 masked up as always. They confronted Du-woo and his gang, but the thugs had weapons, tipped off by AS, student Junkie had contacted. That student was then kicked aside by Du-woo once used up. Surrounded, the duo fought fiercely. Du-woo was shocked at the Red Mask's skill, while Uigyom was swarmed. They fought back-to-back until overwhelmed. Du-woo ripped off Junkie's mask, recognizing him, and filmed, asking, "You seeking revenge for Ji-sung?" He also unmasked Uigyom and recorded it, but Uigyom resisted with all his strength, and both broke free. Junkie fought Du-woo one-on-one and floored him. He then used a fire extinguisher to save Uigyom, and smashed a window, letting them escape. They ran for their lives. Then a motorbike roared up and turned back. It was Sung Ryum. The 2 leapt on, escaping. Safe, Sung Ryun said he was working a part-time job, but his bike had saved them. Uigyom thanked him. When Junkie tried to speak, Uigyom cut in. "You want revenge? Think I didn't understand just now?" Then he asked Sung Ryun, "Let me stay one night. I can't go home like this." Sung Ryun brought him to his boxing gym to sleep. Uigyom admired his medals. Sung Ryun said if not for delinquency, he'd be preparing for the ASEAN Games. Uigyom ignored his father's call. Sung Ryun urged, "Don't fight, don't hang with Junkie. Put on headphones, study like before. Once you fight, you'll fight again." At first I wet myself when hit, but once I landed punches I lost fear and made excuses to fight. Learn boxing, not street fights. Answer your phone, your parents must be worried. But Guillaume only texted he'd stay at a friend's, then powered off his phone. His father received the text and apologized to the tutor, who left, leaving him humiliated and angry. Meanwhile, a school boss watched with glee at the faces of the so-called school heroes, intrigued by the one with mad eyes. Namhook said he'd only glimpsed him at his father's alumni meeting. The boss mocked. 3 school leaders beaten by 2 kids. Then Namhook added that yesterday Ji-sung had awakened. Kisu, the boss, sneered. Wasn't it your professor father's influence that got him held back for low grades? Still, your dad cares, so you'd better become a doctor. Then Doenhana reported the two were at run school. Kisu declared he'd go there tomorrow, demanding money from Namhook. Every time you're humiliated, you come to me. Pay me well. The next day, Sungryung gazed at the sky with Guillaume, asking what he looked at daily. Guillaume said planes. Asked about his headphones, he said they were broken. Later in class, Kisu strode in, seizing a club member. Nam Seung-sik entered, asking who he was. Kisu ordered, "Bring me Kang Junki." When the Mohawk demanded 50,000 won, Kisu flying kicked him. Seung-sik attacked, but couldn't match Kisu's skill. Stubborn? He was kicked in the face, then crushed by Kisu's special technique. Kisu then ordered the rest to fetch Junki. In class, Junki faced Guillaume. A student rushed in. Someone wanted them. Seung-sik had been beaten. If caught, they'd be in danger. Guillaume stood tall, leading his group to face Kisu, asking who he was. The thug replied, "School hero." Guillaume challenged him to fight, but Junki blocked him. "This is my business. Fight me." Kisu smirked, "I'm curious about him." When Junki charged, he mocked, "I'll let you run." Those words triggered a memory. Long ago, Junki and Ji-sung were bullied by 4 delinquents. Namhook then offered terms. "We'll back you, but you must extort juniors and pay us 100,000 won weekly." On a rooftop, Junki handed over 24,000 won. Ji-seong refused. "I won't rob anyone." So Kisu told Junki to leave. When he tried to help his friend, Kisu said only he could go, or stay and take the beating. Ji-sung urged him to go. After hesitation, Junki left, as the 4 laughed. A while later, rushing away, Junki was torn with guilt. He looked back toward the 4 thugs and decided to return, only to see Ji-sung being pushed over the edge. Then, Ji-sung fell. As Junki charged forward, Kisu kicked him. Junki struck back with some kicks of his own, but was knocked down. Rising again, he was pummeled with punches, as Kisu mocked him about the past, before landing a decisive kick. When Guillaume shouted, Kisu said, "I came because I was curious about you." The so-called hero, "Why did you beat my men? Did Junki ask you for revenge? Today you'll be crippled for playing this foolish hero game." Guillaume retorted, "I don't care about your business, I just hate bullies." He charged in. Struggling, he managed to knee Kisu once, then pressed on with solid punches. Now taking him seriously, Kisu unleashed his real strength. Guillaume staggered, his arm injured. Kisu stomped his hand and sneered, "This is what happens when you choose the wrong friends, you'll be crippled." He told Junki, "Revenge is only for the truly strong. Because of you, your friend will be ruined today." As he raised a guitar to smash Guillaume's leg, the bucket hat boy appeared. Recognizing him as the infamous Ji-yu, Kisu stopped. Ji-yu ordered him to back off and leave. Kisu walked away, telling Guillaume to come retrieve the cassette from him later. After he left, Ji-yu told Junki, "Don't stir up more trouble. Consider my debt repaid." Guillaume then drifted into dreams, recalling when his father drilled Song-jun in math problems, scolding and even hitting him to wake him up, insisting the college exam would decide his life. "You mustn't live despised like me. Understand?" I love you." Under the pressure, Seong-jun vented anger on his younger brother. When Yoo Wi-gyeom removed the headphones, his brother snapped back to himself, apologized, and frightened, Wi-gyeom called for their mother. She comforted her eldest. "I know you didn't mean to hurt him. Your brother will understand. You're close to your goal. Endure a bit longer." But later, Seong-jun again lost control, only to apologize once more when the headphones came off. Their father appeared, told him to return to his room, and explained to Wi-gyeom that his brother was sensitive but nearly done. Soon, the father celebrated when Seong-jun entered medical school, while Wi-gyeom entered high school. Wi-gyeom congratulated his brother, but was ignored. Then Seong-jun asked his mother if he could quit school, saying he was exhausted. His father exploded, throwing the cassette player. "Are you insane to leave med school?" That night, Seong-jun entered the room. Pretending to sleep, Wi-gyeom listened as his brother said he wanted him to have the cassette player. "It's my most precious thing. Though broken, when I wear it, I feel peace, like a world without father. Sorry for before." Leaving it, he sat at the window in silence. Wi-gyeom awoke in the hospital. His father demanded to know who had done this, vowing to put them all in prison. He asked Junkie if he knew them. His wife pleaded to let Wi-gyeom rest, but Wi-gyeom declared it was Nam-hook who had ordered the attack, because he had stood up to him. "He's a thug extorting students, son of a doctor, your hospital supplies. Can you put him in jail?" Later, Wi-gyeom told Junkie, "Don't you feel guilty? Because you wanted revenge, I fought, I pretended to be a childish hero. But don't. I don't care about your vendetta. I just hate those guys." And that one told me to come retrieve the cassette. Junkie urged they stop. "You can't beat him." Wi-gyeom challenged. "If you knew that, why start?" The next day, a co-order school, Junkie saw Wi-gyeom's father leaving. He asked about his condition. The father said Wi-gyeom had filed to quit school and would go study in America after discharge. Don't contact him again. As he left, Sung-rian appeared, accusing Junkie. "You lured a bookworm into fighting, got him wrecked. Are you proud? Is that friendship?" Junkie walked on silently. Visiting the hospital room, Junkie found Ji-seong sitting up. His friend joked, "Who am I?" "Just kidding, I needed the nurse to lift me." As Junkie massaged his legs, he confessed, "Do you hate me for running?" "I feel guilty, I should have stayed." Ji-seong replied, "I only fell because I saw you coming back. You wanted to return. When Do-woo moved to attack you, I stopped him and they threw me instead." Ji-seong added, "It wasn't your fault. I fell saving you. I heard you testified at the police. My father's suing now. Nam-hook's dad has power, but with your witness we may have a chance. You must have been scared and lonely. Thanks, Sung-rian." At that moment, Wi-gyeom recalled Seong-jun's words. "This is my most precious thing." Following his brother's phantom, he wandered off. His mother awoke to find him gone and frantically searched. On the rooftop, he sat with his brother's apparition. She pleaded with him. He answered, "Now I understand my brother's feelings." She begged forgiveness for his brother's death. Wi-gyeom whispered, "Sorry. Life is too heavy. I can't go on." Seeing her son's ghost too, the mother clutched her chest in agony. Wi-gyeom then took her hand. She embraced him, crying thanks that he hadn't left her, vowing to do better. The vision of his brother vanished. Back in the hospital, the father declared Wi-gyeom would leave for America after discharge, insisting transferring schools was a mistake. The mother stood firm. "Talk to me. We almost lost Wi-gyeom. He nearly followed his brother. From now on, I'll protect my son myself." The next day, Ji-yu walked alone, but was blocked by Ki-su's men. He fought with skill, but not wanting escalation, tried to flee. Another gang cut him off. He knocked them aside and kept running, only to be cornered by Ki-su's two top lieutenants, with the rest closing in. They charged, but Ji-yu turned them into true punching bags. After taking heavy blows, one thug struck dirty, smashing a porcelain pot on Gu's head. Another seized the chance to slam Ji-yu down. Seeing his shoulder dislocated, they ordered the gang forward, yet Ji-yu fought fiercely. As he tried to escape, Ki-su intercepted with a kick. He admitted the rumors were true. This bucket hat boy had defeated all his men. Ki-su declared a one-on-one duel. "Your shoulder's injured. My ankles hurt. Fair enough. Ji-yu stripped off his shirt, fighting with his good shoulder. The match was balanced, blow for blow, though his pain worsened. Ki-soo, still strong, pummeled him, finally knocking him down. Boasting his strength, he was suddenly kicked in the ankle, then battered by Goo's punches until forced to kneel. Rushing again, he was trapped in a chokehold. Pretending to surrender, he tricked Ji-yu, then slammed him to the ground, unleashing a storm of punches before ending the fight with a decisive strike. Defeated, Ji-yu lay unable to rise as Ki-soo ordered his men to finish it. Meanwhile, Uigam's mother moved him to an apartment, telling him she'd return to work next week. From now on, I'll think only of you. I hope you smile often. Find what you truly want. Don't fixate on grades. Look at me, I always ranked first, but now I'm just a worker. Rest here for now. When you're better, we'll talk about school again. His father wandered into Uigam's empty room, overcome with sorrow. Junki visited Ji-yu, who was battered. Ji-yu told him, "Have you heard of the law of conservation of violence? Those who cause violence will suffer the same. I deserved this, maybe even worse. What about that cassette?" Jinki stayed silent. Later, gazing at a plane, he avoided Sung-ryeon by leaving. In class, Jinki stared at Uigam's empty desk, wondering how he was. At dinner, Uigam's mother asked, "Have you called Junki? He must be worried. Invite him for a meal this weekend. And do you have a girlfriend? No one at cram school?" Uigam replied, "None are my type." She laughed. "With your handsome face, high standards make sense. What about Runki? Does he have a girlfriend?" Uigam joked, "He talks too much. Girls don't like him. I'm better than him." She burst into laughter. Later, Junki confronted Ki-soo. "Return my friend's player." Ki-soo mocked. "Where's the hero? Do you know it's broken?" Junki already knew. When Ki-soo refused, Junki threatened to take it by force. Ki-soo led him to the parking lot, set the cassette atop a car. "Take it." As Junki climbed, Ki-soo attacked. But Junki countered with a kick. Underestimating him, Ki-soo was struck by a volley kick. Enraged, the boss slammed Junki down, taunting, "Running again?" Junki rose, fists swinging, but Ki-soo's superior power overwhelmed him. With a spinning strike, he floored Junki. Victorious, Ki-soo sneered, "Take that broken junk." Junki laughed through tears. At the apartment, Uigyum returned with his mother to find police inside. His grandfather ordered him back home, telling police, "My daughter-in-law's unstable. She's long medicated, yet still obsessed, now even took my grandson, keeping him from school." Uigyum protested, "My mother is fine," but she collapsed. The grandfather urged police to act. Uigyum resisted fiercely. She insisted I'm okay, then phoned her lawyer, "Help me prove my sanity." She promised Uigyum I'll return soon. "Wait for me." She left with police. The father patted Uigyum, "She'll recover." Uigyum snapped, "You're the one who needs treatment." In the car, the grandfather scoffed, "Hire a lawyer? Impossible. In medicine, I hold true power. Your parents failed to create a study environment. That's why you suffer. I've arranged a US boarding school. Till then, stay with me." Just then, a call from Junki made Uigyum dash from the car, leaving father and grandfather stunned. He found Junki, body bruised. Junki smiled weakly. "I'm fine. We're heroes, right? I met your dad today, heard you're studying abroad, who knows when we'll meet again. Here, take this back. I fixed it about 90% from YouTube tutorials. Stay safe." He left. Uigyum donned the headphones, recalling his brother's words. Listen with your heart to feel the real vibrations. Next day, his father waited at school, confronting Junki. "Did you call you last night? Where is he?" Shocked, Junki realized Uigyum was elsewhere. At that moment, Uigyum, headphones on, stood before Ki-soo's school gate. When Ki-soo appeared, he ordered Uigyum away. But Uigyum said, "Where else should a student be? This is school." Setting down the cassette, stripping his jacket, he attacked. Ki-soo's blows landed, but Uigyum endured, even kicking back. The boss charged, stomping him. Yet Uigyom countered with a strike to the ankle. Then Kisu smashed his nose. Meanwhile, Junkie, in Uigyom's father's car, guessed where his friend had gone. On campus, Kisu flung Uigyom into a car, pummeling him as students cheered. But Uigyom rallied with kicks and punches, staggering the boss. Kisu struck back, smashing him into a wind's field. As he stomped on Uigyom's head, Uigyom recalled his father's pointing fingers and his brother's chokehold, then laughed, rising again. Trading blow for blow, the fight raged. But Uigyom's resilience surpassed them all. When Kisu weakened, Uigyom shattered the cast on his arm, tore it off, and delivered a devastating punch that made the gang boss spit blood. Straddling him, Kisu sneered. "I know why you wear that broken player all day. Because you're broken too, neither of us can be fixed. The more we try, the worse we get." Yet Uigyom rained down blows, even as the onlooking students trembled. Kisu goaded him further. "You get beaten at home too, right? Just another pitiful boy." Hearing this, Uigyom grew more frenzied. Visions of his brother Sujian, his bald-headed father, and even a mocking image of himself flashing before his eyes. When he paused, Kisu mocked again. Uigyom rose, put on his headphones, and prepared to strike. At that moment, Junkie and his father arrived to stop him. When asked what was wrong, Uigyom remembered his true dream. "I love the blue sky." Kicking Kisu in the gut, he felt it was his first flight. When his father asked why, Uigyom smiled. "Only now you ask me why." Later, his mother escorted him to a special school. A car arrived and the homeroom teacher stepped out. "I'm the teacher of Moomin High School. We'll take care of your son," his mother urged. "No matter how hard it gets, endure it." Uigyom hugged her. "I'll do well." Bowing respectfully toward his father in the nearby car, he boarded. Inside, grim-faced students radiated menace. Still, Uigyom wore his headphones as always. Suddenly, Junkie appeared beside him. "I'm being forced to transfer anyway. If so, studying together isn't bad, right?" The car departed. At their arrival, the teacher ordered all out, demonstrating some martial arts moves as a warning of life in this school. The students hurried to obey, facing a place no different from a reform camp. Uigyom thought, "If I fight my way into the top 20, I can leave. This place might be full of excitement." The teacher herded them inside, the heavy gates closing like a prison. And so, the story came to an end. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe for support. See you again in future videos.